from the rain and the stone, where the wind has no name and the traveler's alone. There's warmth in the fire and truth in the tale of the watcher who walks where the bold-hearted fail. He carries no sword, yet the darkness gives way to the lantern he lifts at the end of the day. He stands on the watchtower, still and unswayed, where the lost find a path through the fog and the fray. Pilgrim gray, oh steward of the lands, you carry the light in your weather-worn hands. A tale at the hearth, a guide through the night. You open the gate between the wrong and the right.
Again, I want to thank Jason and Sharon emailing this tune to us to use as our intro. Great job, guys. And like I said in the last podcast, if you want to do the same thing, hey, absolutely open to it. If you've put something together that's quality and good, I'll be happy to share it with everybody. And anyway, I think this couple did a really great job, and I look forward to anything else they might do. And I'm glad that they are fans of the show, and happy to have any of you who are listening back to the show. I welcome you to Pilgrim's Gray Chronicles. I am late again tonight because of work, so I am definitely going to be changing times on things. I think what I plan to do is have the same 3 shows, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but all at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, which gives me a little bit of a buffer from work for nights like tonight where I'm extremely late and tired. And so I think that's what we'll do. So just mark that down. If you're used to listening to the show at 8 a.m. on Monday mornings, it will now be 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Everything's going to be Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. from now on. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'm excited to mention that I'm going to be talking with a gentleman that I've just had a recent phone discussion with this week, who has his own podcast called Midwest Mythos. And I caught his interview with Justin from the Prometheus Lens, and I thought it was great, so I got in touch with him. And we're going to have a little talk this Saturday, and that should be up for upload either that Monday or the following Monday, for you to listen to that interview, and maybe we'll talk about some other things, if that goes well, later. He's a very interesting guy, and his show is a great show. You should give Midwest Mythos a listen, because he does a great job. And he's a very interesting guy and approaches things from a biblical perspective, which I appreciate. And so let's get right down to some listener comments. Here we have... Well, I'm really not sure where to go with this one, because I'm not sure what this gentleman meant. But one of his comments on the Tartaria video that we did a while back is he says, "The saved go to heaven for 1,000 years, then the earth is made new, and only then do we come back down to New Jerusalem, and Jesus will reign forever and ever with us." I don't know what to say to that other than what I commented, which is, that's an interesting perspective. Can I see what verses you base that on? Because I don't agree with it, but I don't know everything, and I'm open to different ideas. If somebody can present a good case for something, I'm completely open to it. It's how I've come across different ideas and different paradigm changes. I'm definitely open to hearing what people have to say, because I can be persuaded by good argument and evidence. If you've got it, I'd love to see it. But so few people actually take the time and effort to actually present their case. They just say it, and they don't present anything to back it up. So And also, the same person commented, "Is this an AI voice?" And on that video, I know some people are new and probably haven't heard me explain this, but early on, when I was first doing these shows, I had even less time. I was putting in a lot of hours at work, and I still wanted to do a show, though, because I enjoy studying things and sharing this information with people, because I don't want to just cram my brain full of info for the sake of having a bunch of head knowledge. I think it's important to take this kind of knowledge and let other people know about it if you can. And I could, and so I do. And so I like finding things out. I like sharing what I find out with people. And you can add to that, disagree with it, whatever. Like I said, I'm open to polite discourse. And anyway, so like I said, initially I was very busy and had to utilize AI to read my script because I didn't have time to record or the equipment to do it at the time. So, but now I do. So I don't ever use an AI voice any longer, for better or worse. At least the AI seem to know how to pronounce certain things better than I do. So there is that. But I get it. AI sucks as far as voicing goes and reading. It's usually pretty easy to tell when something is AI. Not always. I feel like I tried to use a good AI voice and it did pretty good. But I too would much rather listen to a human being speaking with all their quirks and all of that than listen to AI. So, but anyway, and to answer your question, yes. The Tartaria video was an AI voice. So, and then on to another comment on our Satan's Little Season Theory Debunked. I had somebody comment with a question where they basically a question / comment, and I don't understand these because. Well, let me read what he said. He said, debunking the words of Jesus and the words of Paul. Best of luck with that. Now, can you see the immediate problem I'm faced with this particular comment? I have no idea what he's talking about. What words of Jesus and what words of Paul are you referencing? I don't even know what to say in argument to that or to receive the information you're offering because you didn't offer anything. What words of Jesus and what words of Paul am I debunking? Anyway, if you're listening, Cube or Nader 1077, please feel free to share. I would love to discuss it with you, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And to Jessify 6943, who gave a positive comment saying, I love this video. Thank you. I cannot tell you how encouraging it is to have positive comments rather than negative ones. Because honestly, the vast majority of comments anywhere have a tendency to be argumentative or negative. So for those of you who do positive things and share and like and do positive things to help with our reach, give 5-star reviews on any of our streams, because we're on every streaming channel. We're not just on YouTube. We are on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, which I didn't realize apparently is a separate thing. I don't know. Spreaker. If it streams, generally speaking, Pilgrim's Grey Chronicles is on there. And so is our band, Pilgrim's Grey. And our most recently released album, Elevensies. So if you want to listen to that, if you like bands like Tool, Ghost, Daedric, Chevelle. Those are some of the things we've been sort of compared to here and there, but anyway, hopefully you'll enjoy it. The whole album tells a story, but you'll have to go listen to it. And at our band's website, not only do we have the music on the album, but a image artwork book that goes with it that tells the whole story, both lyrically and stories that go along with every song all throughout, including the instrumentals. And it's really interesting, and check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. The other thing I wanted to add tonight is I know there's still a lot of things going around about the whole Giza Plateau pyramid, and I agree with people like Derek Gilbert, L.A. Marzulli, and others who I've seen comment on this that it is exciting. I know Jay Anderson from the project, Unity Project, is heavily promoting it, and I share his enthusiasm, but I also share the cautious skepticism of these others, including Judd Burton, that look, it will be great. This will be one more feather in the hat, right, of those of us who happen to believe that what they tell us about history is obviously going to need some adjusting, because it's nothing like what they're telling us. There's no way that at a time where they claim mankind had not invented the wheel, that these megalithic structures were developed by humans alone. Just no way. But I would add, I was listening to L.A. Marzulli this morning on my way to work, and I felt like he was making, I don't know if he specifically said he made this point, but this is the point I took away from what he was saying, which is, approach this with cautious optimism, like everybody else has said. Yes, it's interesting, but let's wait to see how it all pans out when we have more information. But here's the thing. Then he went into some other stuff, and my mind was like, why do we even need... I mean, yes, if what they're saying is true, this would be one of the greatest discoveries of all time. But honestly, there are so many other things out there that clearly show there's a hidden history that we don't even really need this to be a thing, really. Do we? I mean, there's so many other things that clearly indicate that what they're telling us about mankind is made up to accommodate their narrative about the evolution of man from apes and goo in an ocean. And I think it's pretty clear now that the timeline they offer for all of this is completely wrong, and it's going to take major stuff in their face that's undeniable for them to admit it and be able to save face because of human pride and all the money and power and prestige and men's egos that will go along with it. They won't want to. They'll double down initially until the evidence is so overwhelming that they have to face it, and then they'll look doubly worse. They will look like the egotistical fools that they are for doubling down, rather than just looking at the data, and not feeling like you have to go along with the current paradigm. What is wrong with questioning and challenging paradigms? Isn't that really what science is supposed to be, or the search for truth? Asking questions and not just accepting that this is the way it is and everybody else believes this way, and and tough. If new information comes up, we should all check it out and not just poo-poo it instantly as a fake or whatever. Anyway, so I wanted to give a few examples of things that, whether the pyramid has all the stuff under it, and it's what they're telling us it is, basically whether it even matters, whether that it is that or not, because we have these other things out there, like we have megalithic precision stonework. You have sites like Pumapunku, Ollantaytambo, Baalbek, massive stones cut and positioned with precision that is impossible with Bronze Age technology. The stones weigh hundreds of tons, and they fit together seamlessly without mortar. That should not be possible. So either these ancient civilizations had some strange access to advanced machining, transportation, and construction methods that remain unexplained, or there's some other involvement. Interdimensional travelers that have been in contact with humans since we have kept history. You know, it's not just fanciful fiction they were writing back then. They recorded as if it was real in history, and gods walked among them, and they drew pictures everywhere of it, and we're still like, well, that's just mythology. Yeah, okay. And then we have elongated skulls. And I know, there's been so much misinformation about it that everybody thinks they're fake, but they're not. Paracas, Peru, and found also in other globally various areas. We have DNA tests that indicate unusual genetic mutations, skull shapes that cannot be fully explained by artificial head binding. Some of these craniums are not normal. They're not. And you cannot explain it away by head bindings. So what it suggests is, definitely some sort of interaction or hybridization with possible non-human entities or some other previously unknown hominid group. I personally think because of the historical accounts that we have in various cultures that humans were tampered with by these interdimensional beings referred to as the Watchers or the B'nai Elohim or the Divine Council or whatever you want to call them, the Anunnaki. I prefer to trust the biblical account. Either way, they definitely screwed with our genetics and the genetics of plant life, and they sinned against the animals also, creating all kinds of chimeras and so on. And they're teaching humans again to do it today. And then we have the Antikythera mechanism. It's called that because of the city that it was located by in a shipwreck near Greece. And it's an intricate gear-based astronomical calculator that dates back to somewhere between 1 and 150 BC. And is considered an ancient analog computer that's like way ahead of its time. And in order for this to exist, they would have to have incredibly advanced knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering in these ancient civilizations. Now, I have no problem with that. I believe they were more advanced than we were. It's just a different type of technology, stonework, metal, and things like that. But it's pretty clear to me they had a pretty good knowledge of the universe. And I think in some ways better than what we know. I mean, clearly they had structures that appeared to be able to, at one point in time, harness the energy and vibration and sound and electromagnetism of the earth in such a way that they were able to distribute power around the globe in some way. And then we have ancient vitrification, glass-like stone. There's this place in Pakistan, I can't remember the name of it, and in other locations like Scotland and Peru, but these stones and bricks fused and melted into glass-like substance, requiring extremely high temperatures that would not be obtainable by the kind of primitive methods that would have existed at that time, which would indicate some possible strange ancient warfare, maybe involving high-energy weapons or technology that far surpassed primitive fire-based methods of the time in order to melt those things. Not necessarily nuclear, but I mean, maybe something like the Prometheus lens, if you're listening, Justin. Huh. Anyway, and then we have evidence of high-speed drilling. Egypt, especially in the Giza Plateau, and Serapeum of Saqqara. We have core drillings with perfect symmetry, uniform spiral grooves, and penetration rates that are indicative of high-speed diamond-tipped or ultrasonic drilling technology. But I think even better than that. I think it was probably some sort of ultrasonic stuff to be able to just do the things they do, like drilling and perfectly carving through some of the hardest stone substances we know. There's no way that what they tell us about these cultures could be correct in order for them to be able to do that. They're not cutting this stuff like this with Bronze Age tools. No way. So either they were given that knowledge or possessed it somehow, or I don't know, but there's no way that the current paradigm that they're telling us is history is definitely not correct. And then we have the Baghdad Battery. I don't know if you're aware of this one. It's dated to about 250 to 250 BC to around the 2nd century AD. I know that's kind of a broad range, but it's kind of hard to date the thing. Anyway, it's a clay jar containing copper cylinder and iron rod capable of generating electrical current when filled with acidic substances. So this would tell me that clearly ancient cultures understood basic electricity and were possibly using it for electroplating or other unknown purposes, because we've just assumed they were morons becoming more and more intelligent. And it's clear they weren't morons. They were incredibly intelligent, and they just used a different type of physical structure. Maybe they came from a culture that had already done it the dumb way we're doing with plastics. And they knew that stone and metals were better to work with. Perhaps they'd already been through a catastrophe before. Who knows? And they knew that stone would outlive most catastrophes. I'm just guessing here. And then we have nanotechnology in ancient artifacts, like the Damascus steel, and Lycurgus cup in ancient Rome. These metal artifacts are demonstrating nanotechnology level precision in their molecular construction. And it enables these remarkable properties like color shifting glass. Ancient peoples seem to possess advanced metallurgical and chemical knowledge at nanoscales, and they should not, if what they tell us about history is correct. And then underwater megalithic structures. In the Yanaguni Monument, Japan, Dwarka, India, and submerged structures near Cuba, you have massive artificial stone structures submerged by rising sea levels, predating known historical timelines. So it's pretty clear that advanced civilizations existed far earlier than officially recognized. At least before ice, the last ice age flooding. If you even believe in the ice age, I don't know what to believe anymore. I would just say that a global flood could definitely mimic the massive destruction that could be caused by a long ice age, but do it instantly almost. And because so many things would have changed globally during this flood, it's a good possibility that maybe that is when the Earth in certain areas just completely froze over. I don't know. I know that there's been different people who have put forth different hypotheses on that, and plate tectonics and all these different things, and atmosphere issues. But the main thing I'm pointing out here with these 8 examples is we don't necessarily need this discovery at the plateau to clearly demonstrate that the historical timeline is clearly hidden and not what they're telling us it is. I mean, for crying out loud, Graham Hancock has now done 2 separate seasons of his Ancient Apocalypse series that lays out a great case that what they're telling us isn't correct, and he's challenging the paradigms. And I think that at some point, those who don't get on board with that are going to be left in the dust, and all the money that they were chasing and hanging on to their paradigm is going to make them look foolish. Just like all the other people who wind up looking foolish when things get discovered and the evidence becomes overwhelming, and they double down and act like fools, and primarily because of pride and money. And nobody wants to abandon their whole life's research. I get it, but look, if new information is present or overwhelming amounts of evidence are present, just chill, simmer down now and get in there and recognize that the world isn't what you thought it was. It's okay. You'll live through it. Anyway, I think all these discoveries are fantastic, and I love where all these long and winding roads take us, and I love discovering these things, and I'm glad that many of you come along for the journey. We get more and more listeners all the time and subscribers, and I'm excited to see it. And I am going to go to bed now because I'm tired. It was a long, crappy day at work. And we will see you Friday with our top 3 stories of the week at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Let's play it out with, once again, my hats off to and thank you to Jason and Sharon for emailing me this song. I think it's great, and I'm going to use it until at least somebody tells me not to or sends me something else interesting. But this is great, guys, and thank you for it. Have a good week.
Coming from the wild, from the rain and the stone, where the wind has no name and the traveler's alone. There's warmth in the fire and truth in the tale of the watcher who walks where the bold-hearted fail.
He carries no sword, yet the darkness gives way to the lantern he lifts at the end of the day. He stands on the watchtower, still and unswayed, where the lost find a path through the fog and the fray. The gray, oh steward of the lands, you carry the light in your weather-worn hands. A tale at the hearth, a guide through the night. You open the gate between the wrong and the right. Not in thunder, but whispers in song, where seedlines have warred in the silence too long. From Babel to Kaffir, from shadow to flame, the chronicles grow with each hidden name.
He bears not a crown, but the weight of the truth, a lantern for elders, a shield for the youth. He tends to the gates where the watchers once fell, and warns of their lies with a clear ringing bell.
Your pilgrim gray, our watchman in flame, your chronicles echo through ages and name. We drink to your post, your unshaken vow, to the tower you guard, we remember it now. So gather your hearts, ye weary of tread, for the veil has grown thin where the ancients once bled. But a voice still remains at the crossroad and gate, the pilgrim who watches though others grow late.
So hail to the gray with a lantern held high, with scrolls in his satchel and stars in his eye. The seed war still rages, the fire yet burns, but the inn still stands when the wanderer returns.